Bum, 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 bum. G'day, chat. Hello, chat. How you been going, chat? Remove that. Boom. Is this the right live chat? I hope it's the right live chat. Let me close this. Live chat. Pop out chat. There we go. Thank you. Top chat. All chat. Go here. Boom. Nice. Oh, how are we, chat? It's been a while, but we're here, we're live, we're hanging out. We got an hour-long live stream. Before the live stream kicks off, just if you're catching up, we have a Discord. Hi, Jamie. We have a Discord as well. So if you want to get notifications about exactly when we go live at around these sporadic times, feel free to drop them in the Discord. We've got all sorts of stuff to talk about. Jiri Prochazka wants to move down a weight class, which I do not love because of his fight style. I think he needs to have as much chin as possible under his belt. There was the rumored fight. What about Dusty? Do a Dusty stream, mate. There was the rumored fight between Nick Diaz, and Tony Ferguson that turned out to be false. So yeah, we got a bunch we can talk about. We got a whole bunch we can talk about. Mason, how are you, bro? It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. So yeah, I think let's start off. Oh, also, as you guys might have noticed, we got some games to play as well. We got UFC 4 as well that we might be jumping on with. My brother, let's meet up in Yay. Not gonna go out to Yay, mate. That's a long bloody way from Melbourne. But you said you were going to Camberwell, which is in Melbourne, so I'm happy to hang out there if there is a fight on. Nick Diaz needs to fight the couch before he comes back again. Yeah, dude, I don't know what Nick Diaz is thinking. I don't know what he's thinking. Same thing with Tony Ferguson. What is he thinking? Do they have Nick Diaz in UFC 4? Do they have Nick Diaz in UFC 4? Let's have a look. A to Z. I see Nate Diaz. We got Nick Diaz. Oh, yeah. Nick Diaz looked fat and out of shape last time, took the paycheck. Oh, Mason, you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right, dude. I don't know, like, it's sad, isn't it? It's sad the way that he turned out at the last fight. It's real sad, man. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, apparently he wasn't healthy for that. Apparently he didn't have the best weight cut, but what can you say, you know? Nate Diaz loves fighting. He's boxing George. Ferguson is brain dead. How are you, Wolf Chief? What's going on, man? Ferguson has taken a lot of damage. Yeah, dude. Yeah. And with this boxing match coming up with Jorge Masvidal, it feels like it's just a glorified sparring match to me, man. It feels like it's just a glorified sparring match to me. Oh shit. Um, Ferguson's taken a lot of damage. Prime Ferguson was an animal, though. Absolutely true, man. Miami versus Stockton. Yeah, it's just a money grab. Oh, what is this? Let's close this down. There we go. That's it. Nice, boys. Nice. How does that sound? Oh. I care about watching the best fight, the best in MMA. Prime Tony would have beaten up Nate. Let's pause this so I can read the chat. You care about watching the best fights? Yeah. And this is not the best fight. Like, this is a retirement fight for Tony Ferguson, and I don't know why Nick Diaz would take this fight for Nick Diaz. It's very strange. It's really a weird pick for them. Prime Tony would beat up Nate. Prime Tony versus Nate. Yeah, I feel like Nate would follow Tony to the ground, right? Nate would follow him to the ground, and Tony would piece him up from his back when he had that agility. Even though Nate has phenomenal jiu-jitsu, I still think you're right. Mason. Feel bad for Lawler. Think they were cool with one another. It'd be shitty to fight to keep the mentality of fighting while seeing a friend like that. Professor Mobius, I think that is why Robbie Lawler sort of slowed down a bit on him. You know what I mean? And started taking it a little bit easy on him, because you're 100% right. When you're mates with someone, you don't want to just keep beating the piss out of them for no reason. Max Holloway violently KO'd Justin Gaethje. Yeah, dude. It was bad. It was real bad. Nico Price lives close to you. No shit. That's really cool. Lawler was throwing fake punches. Do you think so? Or do you think that Robbie Lawler is just old as shit? You know? All right. We started off this fight real bad. We got knocked down. Oh, no. I'm getting pieced up by Ferguson. Lawler was throwing fake punches. I don't think so. I really don't think he was, man. I really don't think he was. I think Lawler was towards the end of his career as well. Like, what it was just two old-ass uncles fighting each other. It was not good. Yeah, you're right. You think he had a dialogue? Professor Morbius says, I think you're right. He had a dialogue with himself. Lawler can crack. Lawler could crack. Right? But whether or not he could do that. I mean, when did that fight happen, guys? Was it like 2020? 2021? When did that fight happen? Lawler Diaz 2 was a rigged fight. It felt like it, man. It felt like it. Robbie could have killed Nick if he had tried at full power. It felt like it, man. Like when Nick Diaz was just up against the bottom of the cage, much like my Nick Diaz is now, and he just gave up. If Robbie had really pressed hard, he could have seriously hurt him, man. Do you think Tony Ferguson will ever fight again? September 2021. Thank you, Morbius. Thanks, brother. Do I think Tony Ferguson will ever fight again? Yeah, dude. I don't think he has it in him to retire. I really don't. I don't think he's built that way. Should Tony Ferguson ever fight again? That is the better question, isn't it? But I do think that he will, which hurts me to my core. I said it. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate that. How do we feel about Jiri Prochazka cutting the weight? People forget how good Fedor was. For his time. Oh, oh my god, I haven't played this in so long. I have not played this in so long. People forget how good Fedor was. Fedor was brilliant for his time, man. You know, but you put Fedor in there with the modern era. It is what it is. But he definitely deserves a lot of respect. I saw Lucas Tracy was taking Fedor off his GOAT list, which is crazy to me, man. Do you watch Beta? No, I don't know what that is. Gary Goodrich, Paul Herrera, best KO. Jiri can't make that weight. I mean, he doesn't come in fully shredded, does he? Chad Hero, what's up, man? So I think Jiri does have some weight to lose. I think Ferguson will fight anyone that in the commission that doesn't clear him before he gives up fighting. Yeah, if Ferguson would fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. He actually means that. Other than some other people in MMA, Ferguson absolutely means that, man. Absolutely. Fedor started his career 30 at a different era, though. Different era, but I get what you're saying. How's your day, Chad Hero, man? What's been going on? Harry should retire? Who is Harry? What are you talking, Wolf Chief? Fedor was elite. Everywhere. One of the most well-rounded fighters. He could fuck you up anywhere. For his era, absolutely. Stop Mason, he's already dead. Oh, the kickboxer KO'd Alistair Overeem. Right. Francis Ngannou versus Ferguson at a catchweight. Should we play it out? Are you guys talking about what is it? Shit. It's escaping me right now. What is that kickboxing one where Adesanya came over from? God damn it. It's not One. It's not Pride. It's not Eternal. What's the name of that kickboxing organization? I can't remember it right now. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. I gotta Google it. I have to Google it. I don't know what it is. What is the name of that kickboxing organization? Glory Kickboxing. Thank you. Oh my God. Glory. That's it. Thank you guys. God, that was annoying me so much. I couldn't remember what it was. Glory Kickboxing. Yeah. K1. Glory. That's the one. Chat Hero. When you said Tony Ferguson will fight anyone, that transported me back to 2018 when Tony was one of the 155-pound top dogs. Yeah. When Tony's name used to be said, I used to actually feel excitement and intensity. Yeah, dude. It is sad. Absolutely, man. It's absolutely how far he's sad how far he's fallen. Remember back in the day, right? In that era, there was like a meme image of Tony, like all of Tony Ferguson's victims, right? And they all looked like they had gone through an absolute blender. They all looked like they had gone through a meat grinder. And then Tony Ferguson decided that he would cut weight 2 weeks in a row just because he could and absolutely chinned himself. Tony Ferguson was so dominant, he had to chin himself. Bayo KO in kickboxing. Doug Viney. Okay, nice. Tommy boy, how are you, brother? We're just playing out Nick Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. You were batshit crazy if you said Khabib would maul him at the time. That was the fight that we all wanted to see, right? That was the fight that we all wanted to see. And we all said he had the best style to beat Khabib. Like, that was the GOAT conversation at the time. I know, it's bloody sad, isn't it? It's sad to see how far, like, it's come. If we could turn back time. What is really sad about it is that this was, like, the fight that we all wanted to see so bad. They CGI'd it into the promo of UFC 300. They actually CGI'd Tony Ferguson bowing at Khabib into the promo. Khabib would have beaten him. I think now in hindsight, Wolf Chief, you could say that Khabib would have beaten him. I think so. But that's, I think we've got like rose-colored glasses on, you know what I mean? Because we're remembering Tony Ferguson the way that we're seeing him now. Like, it's very hard to get that 7 run out of your head. It's very hard to get those 7 losses out of your head. And we remember Khabib is riding off into the sunset being absolutely dominant. So it's kind of hard. Like, I think we would have to match them up as their 2016, no, 2018 selves, the way they were back in 2018. That's how we would have to match them up. You know what I mean? LR, what's up, brother? It's good to see you in the chat, man. Khabib would have beaten him, maybe. Tony, second round to mid defense. Tony, LR, can you elaborate, please? Tony, second round to mid diff. Please elaborate. Chad Hero says, I like how Tony's... Go away. Chad Hero says, I like how Tony's a joke at this point, but he used to be like the mix of Yuri and Shavkat. Yep. Yeah. Style is Yuri's and respect the organization with Shavkat's. New fans would never get it. No, they'd never understand the run that he went on. They would never understand the run that he went on. And back in the day, remember when McGregor went over to boxing and Tony was like trying to goat him into that fight, trying to get him to come back with like all the shit posting he was doing on Twitter? Man, it was good. It was a good era. It was a good era to be in. That must have been 2017. That must have been around then. But would Tony have ever beaten Khabib? That's the question, Tommy. That's the question. In hindsight now, I don't think that he would have. I don't think that he would have. I think Khabib would have mauled him on the ground. Did Max do to Justin what Justin did to Tony? Did Max do to Justin what Justin did to Tony? Maybe, man. Maybe. Tommy, how old is Justin Gaethje? How old? Because the knockouts do start to pile up, and Gaethje's been in a lot of wars, man. So maybe. Nobody was ever going to beat Khabib from Wolf Chief. Yeah. Only if Khabib decided that he wanted to keep evolving his stand-up game. But even then, like, Charles Oliveira wouldn't have done it. And when you look at lightweight now, right? When you look at lightweight and continue the growth in your mind, like just pretend that Khabib was still there. Like it would have just been Charles Oliveira, which Khabib would have beaten. A second round TKO, medium difficulty level from LR. Nice, man. Yeah, it would have just been Oliveira. Then I guess by then Dariush would have had a go. So Dariush would have lost. And then you would just be recycling all these contenders again and again and again. Then Volkanovski would have moved up. Khabib would have beaten Volkanovski. Maybe. I don't know, because that fight between Khabib... Would Khabib have beaten Volkanovski? Would Khabib have beaten Volkanovski? Interesting question. That was an awful comparison I'm removing. Fair enough. Morbius, fair enough. It's crazy how when I browse through comments, people are calling Tony a can and that he was never that good. True, Chad Hero. True. It's just you got to remember how many new fans we have gotten since the pandemic. That's all it is, man. Like, there's a lot of people here that are just, they're young, they're new MMA fans, they're like 18, 16, you know, they're new to the sport. That's all. And all they know of Tony Ferguson is can crushing. Like, to them, he is a can. You know what I mean? It is insane and sad. It's actually a delusional take. People thinking that Tony Ferguson is a can now. It depends when you join into the sport, man. I'm glad we understand Tony's legend. In this chat, we remember the old Tony Ferguson. Tony was good, just wasn't going to beat Khabib. Fair. Fair. And yet, chat, you believe, chat, that Tony would have beaten Khabib by your own vote. By your own vote, you think that Tony would have beaten Khabib. Khabib was a weight bully at lightweight. He would have beaten Volk. But Tommy, when you look at the fight between Volk and Islam Makhachev, the first fight, it was very, very close. And Islam Makhachev is meant to be just a little bit better than Khabib, isn't he? Isn't he meant to be that step ahead? I feel like MMA doesn't need any more fans. Wow. Chad Hero wants to close the gates of MMA. No more fans to MMA. You become a fan past 2021. I think you shouldn't be allowed to watch. Dude, no. Come on, man. Come on. You can't be saying that. That's not fair. People don't really think about the streak Tony put together. People always talk about the boogeyman like he's not the reason the term was... Oh, yeah, dude. Honest to God, he was. Honest to God, he was the boogeyman. Like people were scared to take him on. So true. They should be allowed to watch, just not talk. How many years do you need to watch? I second Morby. How many years do you need to watch MMA for before you can share your fucking opinion? Yeah, put on a fucking sign. True that. True that. Okay, let's try and do this again, huh? Let's try and do this again. What weight class are we in? We're in welterweight. I think an hour and a half is a good metric. I mean, yeah, yeah, I guess so. It depends though. If they train, are they allowed to talk on it? If they train, you need to see your favorite fighter get old and shit in order to have a decent opinion. 10 years from Wolf Chief. I mean, I think something that does help people mature in MMA is seeing someone that they loved fall off or seeing hype trains fall. We were talking about this the other day in chat, how the Russian fans and the Dagestani fans really get on board with people like Khamzat Chimaev. Like they really get on their own hype trains. And we don't seem to do it with fighters like Bo Nickel. And I think it's because Western fans have watched MMA for so long. They recognize a hype train coming at them. They know that like it's very easy to get fraud checked and derailed. Whereas like some of the newer communities to MMA don't realize that yet. So I think that's got a lot to do with it. Not so much like how long you've been watching it. I mean, in a way, it is how long you've been watching it, but it's a way of getting that like fan experience of realizing there's levels to this shit. And then not only that, but like watching someone that you've loved, like Tony Ferguson or like Dustin Poirier and Gaethje, right? Watching someone that you've loved rise up, challenge for the title, never quite make it to the title, and then like firmly slot themselves in that gatekeeper position, right? Like RDA, like Vicente Luque, like Tony Ferguson. Who's some other ones, chat? Anthony Smith has gone into that firm gatekeeper position. You know what I mean? And then like you only get that through like being a fan for a long time. I was going to say 2020, but the fans started in 2020 have always been knowledgeable. The comments past 2022 have just been so casual. And I think that word is overused, but it's true here. Yeah, yeah. Like the super recent fans, it's almost like they're looking at it like it's WWE, like it is scripted. Some people that train have worse opinions and gatekeep discussions with dog shit takes with dog shit takes more liberally. Yeah, like you don't know, man. You don't know a true guillotine unless you've been in one, man. Ah, true. Like all MMA gym bros that laughed at the idea of Pereira getting highly ranked enough to fight Adesanya in MMA. Yes, yes. Like they don't like unless you train as hard as they do. There's no way you could make it. There's no way that Pereira could make it to the top of MMA in two separate divisions without from coming over from kickboxing. True, 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 true. Remember that? That wasn't that long ago. No, I get what you say. I get what you say, man. Yeah. It's okay. New fans will experience what we experienced with Tony with Yuri, and then they will understand. Oh yeah, man. They're gonna find out real soon with Yuri. They're gonna find out real. Hamzat is another one. They're gonna find out real fucking soon, real fucking soon what a hype train is because the dude has no cardio. Chad, I hope you're wrong. No, I think he's right. I think he's spot on. Warrior, sadly, I fear that it will be how it will go. Both very reflex orientated fighters. Yes, yes, yes. And as Yuri slows down, he will be like Tony. Hope not though. Hope not though, for sure. Yeah. Yuri Prochazka, man. Look at his last fight with Rakic. Look at it, right? He was leading with his head, trying to get Rakic to tire out with his face. And that has been Yuri's entire style for a long time. Magomed, it's good to see you again, man. Brother. We will win 185-pound title, brother. Who are the current hype trains? This is a great discussion, Tommy boy. Good stuff, man. Let's put this shit to the side and let's fucking talk hype trains. Is that better? Where's better? There, 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 there. Who knows? Who cares? Who are the current hype trains? UFC athlete rankings. Who are hype trains right now in the UFC? Obviously, Paddy Pimblett is a hype train. Absolutely right. Bo Nickel is a hype train. So true. Flyweight. Who's a hype train? Is Muhammad Mokaev a bit of a hype train? Because he's skidding through by the skin of his teeth, barely winning. Barely winning fights. Every time he loses a fight, every time he wins a fight, it looks like he was about to lose that fight, right? I don't think Marab is a hype train. I think Marab is for real. Has Arnold Allen still got hype? Has Arnold Allen still got hype? Do you guys remember in 2018 when the lightweight top dogs were Conor, Gaethje, Tony, Poirier, and even Khabib? What a time. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Chat here. Even like the champions, right? Like it feels like now we have very inactive champions. Do you remember when Izzy was fighting every 3 months? Usman was fighting every 3 months. Volk was begging his division to keep up with him. Oliveira was fighting regularly. Like, we had champions that were constantly on the go, constantly fighting, and we just do not have that anymore. It's like every division is slowed right down. Even in women's MMA, Shevchenko and Nunes would fight all the fucking time. All the time. It's weird how much it's slowed down, man. Professor Morbius is saying, yeah, but I think Yuri is smart enough to realize this. My hope was that he was going to evolve like Musashi, adopting his body, adapting with his body rather than against it. Maybe Morbius, once he gets chinned, he will go to that stage of his career. But right now, I'm coping. But right now, he's at the stage of like, I'm invincible. I can take every shot that lands on my chin because that's all he knows, man. So maybe he just has to like revert back to that stage. We're all coping. The flow of time leads to the ultimate cope. All we can do is enjoy it while we can, fellas. So true, Chad Hero. Wolf Chief, L Paddy. True. Jeff Molina is the current biggest hype train. I don't think there's hype around Jeff Molina, mate. I don't think there's hype around Jeff Molina. If you've beaten two top-ranked fighters, you're not a hype train anymore. I don't know, man. Khamzat's beaten everyone, and he feels like he's still a hype train. So I don't know, Tommy. The active champ era is over. I know, it's so sad. Magomed Ankalaev. Who is underrated fighter that needs more hype? To me, Rebelis de Spain, brother. To me, Rebelis de Spain. I mean, Rebelis de España, he's only had one fight in the UFC, hasn't he? And he was pretty hyped up to come into it. So, I don't know. An underrated fighter, I mean, like recency bias, real recency bias, but just from like watching tape this week. David Onama. David Onama, just from watching tape this week, needs more hype. And also, again, recency bias, Diego Lopez from UFC 300 as well. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to think. Trying to think who else. That's all that's coming on the top of my mind. Bo Nickel is not an underrated fighter that needs more hope. He's been getting plenty, Wolf Chief. Tommy Boy, disagree. I agree. I started to dislike Izzy towards the end of his era. He was annoying, but I always respected Usman. He was a true dog. Yeah, I think I mean, I used to say that all the time. Like, you don't have to like their character, but you have to fucking respect how much how much work they're putting in, you know? The other thing with Izzy was his mic skills were cringe, but the moment that he finished a fight, literally the moment that he finished a fight, when he was doing his post fight call out, it was on to the next one. He had his next contender lined up, ready to go. He had a call out, ready to go, ready to say, like, we're just not seeing that from our champions right now. We are just not seeing that from our champions. It's really, really sad. Does Jeff Molina even work for the UFC anymore? Yeah, sure he does, doesn't he? I'm sure he does. I don't think Khamzat has. Don't think Khamzat has hype anymore. Apparently, he still is. Don't know how many fans he has left, but apparently he still is. I don't think Khamzat has hype anymore. Couldn't care less about the fella, to be honest. Yes, Chad Hero, we couldn't, but Magomed Ankalaev and his brethren still, still are hyped on him. So it's going to take them because they haven't really lost a hype train yet. That era of the world haven't had that happen to them yet. They had Zabit, but Zabit sort of fell out rather than slowed down. They haven't had someone come to a crashing halt yet. And they will, and it will be Hamza. Or maybe Magomed himself. Who knows? Yeah, Hamzat got into MMA because he wanted to be like Connor. He's like him now in the sense that you can't trust any fight announcement and that I'm just numb to them. That's fair, man. That's fair then. Hamzat has beaten Burns, Usman, and Holland. No way he's a train. He may not win the belt, but no way that you can call him a hype train. Yeah, like it's not fake hype, is what you're saying, Tommy boy. I get that. Usman's funniest moment was him calling out and facing off with Jan Blachowicz. What a mirror dimension moment. Yeah, dude, that is true. Jesus. I Usman versus Jan Blachowicz, their face off. Oh my god. This reminds me of. Do you remember when Connor was calling out Tyron Woodley? Well, I don't remember which press conference this was after. I'm sure Professor Morbius will probably remember it off the top of his head. But this moment right here, this interaction reminds me of it. Connor had just finished off the stage, and they were backstage in the corridors, and Tyron Woodley is just staring at him, like hating how much attention Conor McGregor is getting. And Connor's just staring back at him, like, "Do you want a fucking piece as well?" Conor was so locked into winning every single belt that he could that he was just like, he was just like, "Fuck it, I'll fight Tyron Woodley next." And he was trying to set up that fight. What a maniac, man! Magomed Ankalaev. Conor eyed Woodley. I was there, brother. I want to win light heavyweight title, then fight heavyweight title. Which heavyweight is easiest fight for me? For you, the easiest heavyweight fight for Magomed Ankalaev? Derek Lewis. Cyril Gunn. All of heavyweight that can't wrestle. Pretty much everyone outside of Tom Aspinall, even Sergey Pavlovich, everyone outside of Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades, Magomed Ankalaev could have a chance at. I like Usman, but Jan would destroy him. I was laughing when Usman was facing off. Yeah, it's. I just watched it back then. It was short. He was shorter. Will Alex give heavyweight a shot? Tommy, the way that it sounded, mate. The way that it sounded, I don't know if Dana White will give Alex a shot at heavyweight. I think with how messed up and log jammed heavyweight is at the moment, and with how messed up light heavyweight has been for the longest period of time, Dana White is quite happy to just slow everything down and keep everyone where they are. So I don't think he's going to be giving Alex a shot. No, I don't think he will. Connor eyed Woodley. I was there. This may be a hot take, but I think Connor back then beats Woodley. He was too good. I don't think so, Chad Hero. That is a hot take because back then Woodley would actually swing. Woodley would actually have a go and fight, you know? Whereas these days, not so much. So I don't think so, brother. But, you know, fair take. Not fair take, but you tried. That's all I can say. You had it go, mate. Woodley 170 smashes. Woodley 170. Woodley 170 smashes Conrad 145, 155, brother. Smashes, brother. January's entire style was fighting people exactly like Woodley, 100% agree. Yeah, but again, like, remember the time when that fight would have happened, right? Woodley was still trying back then. He wasn't just hiding behind his jab, never throwing it, looking for his power punch. He would actually engage in a fight. Wild, I know, to talk about Tyron Woodley engaging in a fight, but there was a time where he would do it. Chad Hero continues on with his hot take. Conor, fresh off the Alvarez fight, beats everyone. I'm not being hyperbolic. He was on a different level, but maybe I'm just biased. I think you're just looking at him through rose-colored glasses, Chad Hero. I really do, man. I mean, he was good. He was damn good. That Alvarez fight was phenomenal, you know. And even so, the way that he looked in the first couple of rounds with Mayweather was phenomenal. But yeah, dude, I think you're like, who the fuck remembers Woodley's career? Honestly, who remembers Woodley's career? Why would we? So that's what I'm saying. Um, which illegal, which fighters do you think do illegal steroids? I need to know now. Well, that's a good damn question. That's a damn good question. Maybe Alexander Volkanovski. He has an incredible pace, but also, but also, Sean O'Malley has a lot of strength and has been busted doing steroids before. Merab Divalashvili has a insane pace as well. Maybe it's just the lighter guys that have an insane pace. Um, um, who else? Who else? Mm. I was going to say Yoel Romero, but Yoel Romero is not in the UFC anymore. You're wrong. It wasn't that event. He fucking. You're wrong. That was the event. He fucking drew versus Wonderboy. His finishing days were well over at that point. Was that event where Connor was eyeing him off? Was that the one? I remember Woodley's career now. Yeah, when he like that. See, I remember. It's funny. I was literally just talking to Bad Math MMA on his stream for that when he fought Wonderboy because I actually had friends over at the house watching that event, and we were at a shared house. We were drinking on the Saturday night. It was on the Sunday morning. We all watched it, and I was like, "This fight is going to be a banger." Tyron Woodley, very good with the hands, great wrestling. Wonderboy looking great in that era. and then that fight was an absolute sleeper. It was an absolute sleeper. That fucking killed me to watch, especially since like those mates of mine weren't into the UFC, so I was like, shit. I could have had a crew of mates that wanted to watch it, but hey. R2, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. One thing I remember is Woodley thoroughly annoying me. I feel like everyone treated Usman like he was Woodley. Tyron had a very, very annoying aura. I felt that towards the end of Woodley's career. Like, yeah, you're right. Like after that Wonder Boy sort of run, after those Wonder Boy fights, that's when it really started to go off a cliff. And that's when he started talking about how much he deserved to be paid. And I was like, dude, you're one of the most boring fighters on the roster to watch. So yeah, man, I get you. I get you. I'm with you. Never actually got the Usman distaste, to be honest. Neither did I, Chad Hero. Like he was active. He was started pumping out the jab, getting behind it, fighting regularly, trying to knock people out. Neither do I. I don't know. He was entertaining. I've always looked forward to an Usman weekend. Every time there was an Usman pay per view, I was like, great. We're going to see someone engage. This is great. I came around on Usman, not gonna lie, but at a point I really didn't enjoy watching him fight. But Morbius was that earlier on in his career, back when it was the that was only 70% Kamaru Usman, back when he was just a wrestler. Because there was a point where he was just a wrestler and it was very hard, very, very hard to watch him. So, but then like it was weird. He became more exciting and more of a stand-up striker as he progressed in his championship run, which, you'd think he would start fighting more defensively, like Israel Adesanya did. Like Israel Adesanya was actually an exciting kickboxer until he became a champion. Then he became a mosquito that would bounce around the cage, stinging from the outside. They were like on almost opposite trajectories with their excitement levels, if that makes sense. Chad Hero, yeah, he was boring for, yeah, he was boring for sure before he was champ. But I think his champ reign was enjoyable. Yeah, he wasn't terrible. Like, yeah. This is Chad Hero. We're on the same bloody page, mate. We're on the exact same page on this one. It was kind of meh for me, and then I started to like it. Yeah, man. Exactly. And I think that's just what we need to see sometimes with champions, get them out there a little bit more and see how well they do in like big, big promotional events because it is harder when they're on the come up and you don't see them in those like massive spotlight moments where there's so much riding on it. But then as that does start to happen more and more, we do tend to fall in love with them. I think there's only you know what it is as well? We were just talking about this the other day. The more someone is a champion and is fighting on pay per views, the more of their story we see just because they get so much more of the promotional space. And we feel so much more involved in their story. So I think Usman was one of those kind of perfect things where he came up a little bit boring, but then as he had so many defenses and he became so exciting at the same time, we started to enjoy him more and more. Really strange. Really strange how that worked for Usman. I don't think Cannonier or any other middleweight is good for Usman. He should retire because I feel like a decline is coming. Yeah, Chad Hero. I mean, it's all well and good to say that he came off the couch with 11 days' notice against Khamzat Chimaev, and he looked great against Khamzat Chimaev. Da 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 da. But that was almost a year ago now, to be honest. Like, when was that fight? It was last year. Was it October last year? Like time is starting to tick on, and Usman is not getting any younger. And yeah, Usman versus Cannonier, not good. But also, Cannonier is also not getting any younger. It's like these guys are aging out. We are at a turning of the page now. We're certainly at an era where we're going to start seeing some people get folded out and new people coming in. And Usman's one of them. Cannonier's one of them. Robert Whittaker's one of them. You're seeing it across all the divisions, right? Lightweight, all the top 5 at lightweight. They're all starting to fold out. We're getting into a new era now. Kamaru Usman started training with Trevor Whitman in July of 2020. I know this is a hotter take than most will agree with. Here we go, everybody. Morbius has got a spicy take for us. But I don't think it was good fun to watch him until then. That's not that wild of a take, Morbius. That's what we're saying. Like, he was that wrestler all the way up. I'm only trying 70%. Dana White fucking hated that. All the way up. And then once he started getting behind that jab. And it's so interesting with fighters who have a it's so interesting with fighters who have a good wrestling base because it helps them open up the striking. People are so scared of what they're going to do with the hands in the wrestling that it allows them to open up and be a lot more free-flowing with the strikes. Like, you see this now with the Dagestanis. You see this now with the Dagestanis, right? The Dagestanis have started opening themselves up to striking more and more and more. And that is because with their ground game being so good, their opponents are so worried about the takedown coming at them that they sort of always got their hands a little bit ready to drop. And Usman was that like dominant wrestler who grew into his striking, which made him, so enjoyable for us to watch. He had compelling fights before that, but not must-see bang. It was just like we're sort of seeing it now with Brady. Like, it was the wrestling base always makes it hard to be a super fan of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes it hard to like tune in and want to watch every single one. I completely agree, Morbius. Women helped flourish his striking. Yep, that's exactly what Usman became really fun. Yeah, exactly right, Chad here. Magomed. Wrestling is best for MMA, brother. Come to Dagestan. Learn to wrestle, brother. One day, brother. One day I go to Dagestan, brother. You teach me how to wrestle, brother. I just thought people would disagree since the Maya fight, the Covington fight, Woodley, RDA fights were before that. Yeah. But yeah, I can agree with that. Significant, not the most fun fights to watch. Yeah, like important fights, but not thrilling. Like Gamrot. Important fights, not thrilling fights. You know what I mean? Gamrot. Fucking Mateus. Fucking Gamrot. Marab on his come up. Where Marab is now. Literally up until he picked up Henry Cejudo and body slammed him. Utter dog shit to watch. So boring. We're going to go for 12 more minutes, guys, and then we're out of here. So, yeah. There are fighters like that who are just so good at wrestling, so dominant at wrestling, but it sucks to watch. That's that's why I really like Bo. Even though the UFC is in love with him, he's a pure wrestler who's actually becoming an MMA fighter, not an MMA wrestler. And Chad here, this is the thing with Bo Nickel. If they had just managed Bo Nickel's career appropriately and put him on undercards, prelims of pay-per-views rather than constantly trying to shove him down our throat, he would actually become a natural star within the UFC. As we would see this kid, who is a dominant wrestler, slowly pick up the sport that we love so much and want to see so much. But instead, he's shoved down our throat from Dot and sold to us as this next big thing. And we're like, there is growth that needs to happen here. Can we just enjoy the growth? We have Bo Nickel and Grant Dawson in the same era, night and day. True, Morbius. True. Bro, Gramrot at least had a banger with Sarukian. True. I really enjoyed the Covington fight and Woodley's domination. And other than that, all of his scraps came after Whiteman guided him. Yeah, these are the facts. Did you see Aljo saying that he was the most dominant fighter at UFC 300? I didn't see that, Tommy boy. Aljamain Sterling is determined to not have any fans at all by the end of his career. Aljamain, this is Dougie's hot take. Aljamain Sterling might be the first fighter to ever come into the UFC and then leave the UFC with less fans than when he came into the UFC. Powhatan literally slept Jamal Hill after being kicked in the nuts. Max Holloway beat Justin Gaethje on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards. Like every single round. Picked him apart. Destroyed him. Kayla Harrison finished Holly Holm. I didn't see Aljo. What did Aljo do? Rode out backpack position. No ground and pound. Fuck Aljamain Sterling. Fuck him. The Covington fight was insanely paced, but it didn't age well. Jeff Molina would like a word about your Aljo take. I'm sure that he had more fans before. That's true. In this sport, good luck to him. You think I am boring fight, brother. You think I am boring fight. Be honest, brother. If you say yes, I will learn spinning back fist. Honestly, to Magomed Ankalaev, the mad Magomed Ankalaev fan, not actually the most boring fighter. Because Magomed Ankalaev is one of these new Dagestanis. He's one of these modern Dagestanis that goes for wrestling. Goes for striking before wrestling, but Doug, shut up and say your fucking sentence clearly. Magomed Ankalaev is one of these new Dagestanis who is implementing their striking first and using their dominant wrestling as a very solid B plan, like ready to go to when they need to go to it or implement it when they have to. They're almost picking up what Shoot the Box team is doing, where they're happy to play around on the striking, and then if they get knocked down, they can roll back into jiu-jitsu and use that as a defensive move. Almost like giving themselves their own 10-8 boxing count. Like, right? Does that make sense? And the new Dagestanis are doing this. They're striking. Okay, not working with the striking. Grappling to win. So, brother, Magomed Ankalaev, brother, you're not actually that boring. And Magomed, I made a video months ago, talking about Dagestani privilege and how come Magomed Ankalaev isn't getting a fucking title shot immediately. There you go, mate. It turns out that Colby Covington just pumps out pillows, yes, and Usman learned to jab since then. I think, Morbius, what makes that fight so epic is all the shit talking going into it. All the shit talking going into it, and then the fact that, I don't care if Chael Sonnen says it's a conspiracy or not, the fact that Colby Covington got his jaw at least dislocated, and there is a photo of it, a clean photo of Colby Covington with his jaw popped out. This photo. This photo is one of the most beautiful photos I've ever seen in my life. Honest to God. I had this photo as the background on my phone for so long. For so long. And if we ever get the studio done up, the office done up properly, I want this photo framed somewhere. It is so good. So good. I'm not gonna lie. I think Ankalaev gets too much hate right now. He's pretty fun most of the time, except for a few sticky. Yeah. That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, exactly. I think the best fighters to watch in the UFC of all time. So this isn't a GOAT list. This is just who are the best fighters to watch, right? Of all time. In order are Tony Ferguson, yes, true. Yuri, yes. Poirier, yes. Oliveira, and my hot take, Terrence McKenna. None of those. That's yeah, because Terrence McKenna like either comes out swinging and gets the fucking KO or gets KO'd. That's true, man. Can I add to your list Cowboy Cerrone? Can I add to your list Nick Diaz? They're always good. Like you can click on any one of those, and they're good fun to watch. Also, if you have Fight Pass, chuck on Chuck Liddell as well. I'll add them to your list. So Nick Diaz, Cowboy Cerrone, and Chuck Liddell. Good fun because you know it's like, especially with Chuck Liddell, it's just swinging. 4 minutes left, boys. 4 minutes left. Brother, you need to be my agent, brother. Tell Dan the best fighter in the UFC, brother. Definitely you're not the best fighter in the UFC, but you do get too much shit. And Magomed Ankalaev, while we're talking about Magomed Ankalaev, everyone, and Magomed Ankalaev is joining us in chat. Um, how can you fight for a title? Chat. Riddle me this. How can you fight for a UFC title, it be a draw, and then not get another title shot? Like that's almost like the Sean Strickland DDP thing, where it's a split decision. It should be a rematch, especially before Powhatan took over. Light heavyweight was a division where it's very top heavy. It could use a give me title fight to allow the contenders to percolate and bubble inside of it. So it could use a immediate title rematch for Magomed Ankalaev, or at least now it could use Magomed Ankalaev to fight. Like light heavyweight needs to percolate and allow some of these contenders to rise up. So I don't understand why he doesn't get a title shot, and I don't understand why he didn't get an immediate rematch against Yuri. 3 minutes left, chat. 3 minutes left. McKenna is also replaceable with Max, but his Volk 1 and 2 fights were a bit slow. Yeah. They were a bit slow, but I get like it's very hard to have a UFC fighter where every single fucking fight was phenomenal. Jose Aldo, another one where you could just load up Fight Pass and just have a damn good time watching every single one. And then like I do this quite a bit where I will go back and just watch a certain fighter's fights, an old school fighter's fights, one by one by one by one by one, like watching an old TV show. So yeah, Jose Aldo. Yeah, perfect. That's a good yeah, man. Oh mate. Aldo, beautiful fighter. Beautiful fighter to go watch all the way back from Strikeforce. Go again. Yeah. 2 minutes left, chat. What are we going to talk about? 2 minutes left. McKenna is also replaceable. Yeah, no, you're right. The fight was built well, and they both dug deep. Yeah. It's compelling. I'm just saying that knowing in retrospect that Colby couldn't sleep with the Argentine. Yeah, I know. Yeah, look, Morbius, now, in hindsight, I would be quite happy to let Colby Covington punch me in the face because I'll be fine. You know, I've coughed harder punches than Colby Covington's. I'll be all right in hindsight. But, just trying to think of a fighter with every fight being fun, like my OG list. If you name one boring fight from any of those guys, I'll donate. Okay, I was just trying to think of a fighter with every fight being fun. Like on your original list, if you can name any one of them that had a boring fighter, okay, Morbius, hang on. Let's all lock in. This is a good one for the last minute. Okay, so where were you? I think the best fighters to watch in the UFC all time are Tony, Yuri, Poirier, Oliveira, and my hot take, Terrence McKenna. None of these fighters ever. Okay, Tony. What would Tony's most boring fight be? Oh, shit. The Oliveira one was a bit wrestly, but that round two armbar was fucking phenomenal. Jiri Prochazka hasn't been in the UFC long enough to have a boring fight. Dustin Poirier, early Dustin Poirier fights must have been out wrestled by somebody early in his career, back when he was at 145. Oh, I can't think. I can't think of one. Who else we got? Oliveira. Early Oliveira would have had a boring one. Early Oliveira, back when he was quitting all the time, would have had a boring one. Morbius, you take over. Chad Hero, I'm sorry. I can't think of one. It's been a long fucking day. I can't think of one. I am sure that Dustin and Oliveira would have had one, especially Dustin back in the day. Back when he was shaved head, 145 pound, emaciated, dehydrated Dustin Poirier. So, Professor Morbius, you want to grab the last one, and then we're going to wrap this stream up, boys. While Morbius does that, if you enjoyed this stream, I have a Discord where you can get live updates for when I drop a new video and one Dustin versus Albert. I cheated. Chad Hero, I won. Don't worry, dog. I'll do the $10 challenge again. I like it, man. That was a fun one. That was a good way to end. Professor Morbius, I didn't want to cheat because you guys would have heard the clickety click clack of a keyboard going nuts. Oh shit! Everyone have a good night, a good day, depending on where in the world that you are. Thank you for jumping on the stream. There is going to be an earlier stream for me tomorrow. It's a public holiday tomorrow in Australia, so I'm going to go live during the day. I hope to see you all there. Again, if you want notifications, you can hit the notification bell on YouTube, or you can go to the Discord and I don't know how that works. Turn on notifications for that. Until then, I will see you all in the next one.